afternoon. Welcome to our meeting this afternoon. Our prayer will be brought by Councilman Bollinger or his guest. Mr. Bollinger?
Yes, thank you. If you'll bow your heads with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity for us all to gather as a city. Thank you for allowing us to sit up and try to do what we need to do to make the city a better place. There are a lot of hard decisions that have got to come in the next month or so. Please give us the guidance and help us make these decisions that will be good for all the people of Montgomery. The things we ask in your name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Please rise to the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, need a motion on the work session minutes from August the 7th.
Motion to approve.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Need a motion on the regular council meeting minutes for the August 7th.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Thank you so much. We have a couple of things before we get into the council meeting that we wanted to recognize. You know, the advertiser this year has been doing Community Heroes, and while we've known most of them, tonight they are recognizing a community hero that's one of ours. Brian Gosa is in our Special Victims Unit. He's already been recognized by the Kiwanis of Montgomery. All the clubs came together, but I'd like to introduce at this time Bro Criff, who will present the award and will talk about the great things that Brian has done and the reason that he's getting this award. Michael Galvin, the president of Advertising Company, is here as well. He's the cameraman tonight, so bro, if you'd come and make the presentation.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. I feel like I come almost every 2 weeks right now, but it's a pleasure to be here and be able to honor some of the unsung heroes that we have in Montgomery, and I can think of nobody better than Detective Brian Gosa. When I talk about him, I want you to also think about all the police officers that we have in the city of Montgomery and what they do for us on an individual basis and may not get recognized for those services that they have, because Brian Gosa, as he said, is in the Special Victims Unit. He deals with some of the darkest things that we have to deal with as a society. He does it on an everyday basis. He has to look at things and determine what occurs in some of the worst cases in Montgomery, and he does it for us. Sometimes we hold an arm's length to that, and we do not want to talk about it in our community. We do not want to talk about it in our families when such things occur. But an effect of that is we don't talk about the men and women who serve us and therefore solve those cases for us and make the difference in our lives. Brian Gosa is one of those men. I think about my son when I think about Brian Gosa. He's 5 years old, he has special needs, and I think about men like Brian Gosa that protect him on a daily basis because they are solving those crimes. There have been crimes recently that have been high profile that he's been a part of, including a case that I understand will go to federal court soon. He does this, he compartmentalizes it, and he doesn't talk about it with his family, with his coworkers, with the community. But today we're not going to compartmentalize it because we're going to honor this man for what he does as a police officer for us. I cannot think of a better person to represent the police force as a whole because of what he does. He probably doesn't even want this recognition, but he deserves this recognition because of the work that he does. So on behalf of the Montgomery Advertiser, on behalf of the city, on behalf of the citizens of the city, on behalf of the city council and our sponsors for community heroes like Beasley Allen, I present you Brian Gosa, our community hero for the month of July.
I'm not much of a speaker. Thank you very much. Montgomery Advertiser, you did a really nice article. Made me look a lot better than what I actually am, but I appreciate that. I work with a great group of people, not just in the police department, but with special victims. Have some great people there. We have a PhD candidate. We have a sergeant who can make us laugh. We have a good lieutenant. We have people with experience. We have some former homicide detectives. So this is who's working on our cases, and we deal with everything from little kids to adults. And it is bad, but you know, I hear often I can't do that. I couldn't do that job. I'm just blessed because it's the person God made me, and that's why I can do it. And it's the support of my wife, my son, the people around me, great supervisors, a great department. It's great to work in the city of Montgomery. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. We want to get a picture, but let me just say this. Go ahead. Give him the due recognition. Brian, in that particular organization, does significant work, and as Bro said, is going to hopefully get some great convictions here pretty soon. But this is just what our police officers do every day. Bro's already talked about that. But our clearance rate with our detectives and other activities is in the high 70s. And that's so far above the national average. But it's the dedication of our police force that makes a difference in our community. And if you would like to get your family up here, we can get a picture with them, and also we're going to get a picture with the city council, and we'll do a reenactment of the presentation up here. Is that okay? Good deal. City council?
Must like to get like people involved.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Brian. Congratulations. We have a bunch of good-looking youngsters here that we want to honor tonight, and with Michael Burdell. I was having a senior moment there. He has penned a narrative about the America's Dixie Darlings. The line, "Though she be but little, she is fierce," is from Act 3, Scene 2 of Shakespeare's A Midsummer's Night Dream. Speaking of Shakespeare, wonderful announcement last week. If you hadn't gone to Shakespeare recently, go check it out. If you saw Annie, that's just the beginning of great programs that are going to be there. However, it could also apply to the softball diamond and to the Montgomery American Dixie Darlings 8 and under All-Star team. These fierce female phenomens were selected from teams that played in the Montgomery American League. Although they had little time to practice as a unit, they conquered all opponents at the sub-district and district levels to advance to the state tournament in Troy. There they beat the Taylor Rehoboth team from Dothan, sorry, Dawn, to become the Alabama champions. The Montgomery Americans next headed to Alexandria, Louisiana, to the Dixie Darling World Series. Here, too, their fierceness was on display. They lost just one game through the semi-final round, coming from behind in 3 of those contests, and advanced to the championship game against the Louisiana All-Star team. When the dust settled, the Montgomery Americans came up just a teeny bit short. They finished their season as the second-best team in the region, comprised of Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, Georgia, and the Carolinas. They represented us extremely well, and the team is coached by Ray Little. So, Coach, if you would come and make some comments, we'll present you with the certificate, and we're going to present a certificate to each of your players.
All right, thank you very much. First of all, thank you all very much for taking the time to honor these girls. They really did practice hard. They scored 89 runs and only gave up 15 all the way through the state tournament, winning 12 games and 3 individual tournaments. When they got down to Louisiana, we really didn't know what to expect, and these girls came out to play, and they were something. On the field, they really couldn't be beat, and until we hit Louisiana. That home team and that home crowd was a little tough, but these girls stood up and they played hard, and to get beat in the last inning like that, we really felt good about ourselves. And to play the way they did and to practice the way they did 5 nights a week, and our head coach, Lane Knight, he didn't believe in hour practice. He believed in 2.5, 3-hour practices. So these girls are used to hard work, and they really did it, though, and they did it themselves. So we're really proud of them.
Come on. You come up here.
We want to invite all of the Dixie Darlings loved ones to come up here for the photo op. So don't be shy. This is a great opportunity. Assistant coach Peggy Hudson. Assistant coach Hudson. Yeah. Y'all stay there. We'll call you one at a time, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Riley Hudson. Have a mother-daughter picture with the mayor. May Milton. Moms, y'all come up closer, right up here to this. It's under police order. We ordered that you come here. Camilla Abbott, I'm sorry. Macy Lynn Duncan. Kate Harrison. They all have a high batting average. Haley Ishman. Evie Knight. Evie Knight. There we go. Stick to my day job. They all can. Micaiah Shelton. Hadley Sermon. Anna Williams. Reagan Little. And Kennedy Thompson.
Mr. President, that covers it.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very positive thing for those kids. Okay, any special committee reports we have tonight? I don't think there are any. We'll go right into in the public communication items. Everybody's numbered them, but I've got one person that didn't have a number. Ronald Butkus, Ronald Bailey. I may be mispronouncing Ronald Bailey. Ronald, you want to speak?
How y'all doing this evening?
This agenda item, sir. Which agenda item is this?
You're good. Just put it down.
It's on. We can hear you.
How y'all doing?
Fine. What's the agenda item? What item are you talking about?
I'm talking about 132 Longview Court. We have an issue with him and him junking his yard up.
I need to bring you in at the end of the meeting. You know, I'll put you on the end of the meeting, okay?
Excuse me?
This is for items on the agenda. That's not on the agenda, and I will have to let you talk after the agenda is over, okay? So if you'll come back, we'll call you back up in a little bit.
See that man back there?
Yeah, I was going to say, Mr. President,
go ahead and
if you
just
could
see
get
him and
with
take
Thomas
care of it.
Carr right now.
That'll solve the problem for you.
Good.
See him, Thomas? Go ahead. Very good, okay. Okay. Madam Clerk, number one item.
Mr. President, item 1, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one parcel of land located at 3480 Well Road from an R99S to an M1 district.
This is a public hearing. Anybody wants to speak on this item? On number 1, I have Jamal Brown signed up to talk about that. You know anything about this one? No. You want to pass over on that one? Yes, sir. Okay. Anybody else want to speak on item number 1? Item number 1. I declare the public hearing has been held. It's probably before the council. Need a motion? Need a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Item number 2.
Item 2, hearing a proposed ordinance amending Chapter 25-33 of the Code of Ordinances, collection and disposal of services established.
I have several people signed up for this. This is a public hearing. Victor Lester first. I have several more. Remind you, to have 3 minutes to each person talking, okay?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor and council members, my name is Victor Lester from the Eastern Oaks community, to the eastern side of town, and the secretary has my address. Items 2, 3, and 7 are virtually in the same category, so I will only burden you one time with my short talk.
Very good, thank you.
I am certainly an advocate of the sanitation department. I think we do not give these people anywhere near enough credit. While we sit in an air-conditioned environment in here, those people are out working in the burning sunshine every day under the worst of conditions. They do it cheerfully, and they are by far wonderful ambassadors for the city at all times. I think they deserve a great deal of thought, which has not been taken yet in this matter under consideration. I sat through the work session this afternoon, and concerns for the city's employees was never mentioned once. I think we need to address that in great detail so that we reward these people and not just dump them unceremoniously. The concept of trash collection and disposal is a public utility, and I believe it should be treated as a revenue-neutral activity and not a budget item that can be sliced up and used as a pool for other resources. The people who run that department deserve the autonomy to know where their money is coming from and where it's going from without having to wait for budgetary approval at all times. And those are my 2 main concerns. I honestly feel like these issues should be withdrawn because I did not hear any consensus today at all on almost any given item as far as what needed to be done. I think it deserves better consideration than that. Thank
Very
you,
good.
sir.
Thank you very much. Bart Prince, Bart Prince, Bart Prince. Item number 2.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Yes, sir. Your name for the record, sir?
My name is Bart Prince.
Very good.
President of Woodland Park Neighborhood Association. And the gentleman that just spoke, those were my exact thoughts and comments concerning that. Those sanitation and workers need all of that consideration in them. And if we got to implement some higher wages, taxes on the citizens of Montgomery, then I think the citizens, if it's not given a vote, then you don't even know what our concerns are. So before you all do anything, I think that needs to be highly thought about and considered and brought to an amendment where it can be voted on.
Thank you, sir. Phyllis Harvey Hall.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I would like to, if it were to say, second to what the gentleman before me have said. And when we look at the disposal and the frequency of trash collection, all of us feel like this process has left us out, which is as the citizens, the tax-paying citizens who fund this base for everything that you are discussing. And as we said, I've heard several times, well, I heard once in a meeting that there would be attrition. I don't know if we have properly explained to the people who are in the sanitation department that with that, what I heard, I think was 30% of them that are part-time, that could mean that there is not going to be a contract renewal. And I think we need to take greater consideration for that. And as far as the frequency of collections, when we were listening to the discussion earlier, if you're going to say, okay, if you don't want to pay this, here's another alternative. Asking us as citizens to pay $5 more, and that needs greater clarity. Are you referring to once a year, every month? And as a person, I think that's a little much for us to give when there's little transparency in the budget for us anyway in a meaningful way. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your input. Alfreda Murdoch. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I'm Alfreda Murdoch, and what I'm about to say is probably a little redundant since the other people have already talked about it.
Okay.
But I was in the working session, and not one time did I hear the concerns of the sanitation workers at all. All I heard was about the trucks, the new equipment, the this and the that. What happens when you go to 1 day a week? Do you lay those people off? Do they lose their job? Do they lose their benefits? I don't think that's fair. Also, we never talked about another option. Yes, we can go $5. I would be willing to pay the $5. But then have you ever looked at occupational taxes? Other ways to get this money into Montgomery, because there are several other ways I think we can bring more revenue into Montgomery instead of taking our trash down to 1 day a week. Thank you.
Thank you for your input, please. Okay, council, we'll carry that over to unless somebody wants to. I declare the hearing's been held. It's probably before the council. Okay, I'm sorry, Jamel. Go ahead. Come forward.
We talk about saving money here in the city of Montgomery. And I brought this trash can, this little garbage can, to show an example how the mayor and the Gang 5, everybody need to know, have been trying to destroy this sanitation department since he was elected mayor of this town. The sanitation department is the lowest paying city department in the country. And these people have children to take care of. These people have families to take care of. We need to stop treating them like low-class citizens. Me and State Representative Abraham fought for years for the sanitation department to get a raise. You want to find some money? There are over 5 police officers on paid leave collecting over $600,000 that is facing some very bad charges. Take their behinds off of leave pay, and let's look at ways of trying to save money for the city of Montgomery. Save the sanitation department.
Mr. President, I move we carry it over for 2 weeks, next council meeting.
Okay. The motion carried over.
I second.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Item number 3.
Hearing on proposed ordinance amending section 25-191, disposal of trash in residential areas.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak on item number 3? Jamal, you went 1 through 6. You've had it? I think the same thing. Okay, good deal. I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion? Suspend the rules or carry it over? Have a motion carried. This will be carried over next meeting.
Item 4.
Okay. Be carried over. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay.
Unanimous.
Carried over.
Good job.
Yeah. Item number 3. Let's see.
Item number 4,
Number
hearing
4.
on proposed ordinance amending section 16-107, gasoline and oil tax.
This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak on number 4? Please come forward. I don't have anybody signed up on number 4. You, Mr. Brown, you have signed up?
Yeah, you got me signed up.
That's all.
You all right. Look, Mr. President, once again, we got to come with ways in this city in saving money and getting money other places in order to fill in the gap. I just mentioned about the officers. Is one prime example, Mr. President. We are paying over $100,000 for a director of public safety to watch over the police, the fire, and the EMA. I can see Atlanta having that. I can see New York having that. But we need to cut our own garbage inside house before we start to impose taxes and tax increases on Montgomeryans that go out and work every single day. We showed it when the mayor tried to tamper with the retired city employees. Why you going after the retired folks? You got folks working for you that making more money than you. You need to cut your own house. The Bible says, get your house in order. So you want to try to have your house out of order and tell us we got to pay higher taxes. No, we ain't paying no higher taxes. And one more thing, Mr. President.
Mr. Brown.
One more thing, Mr. President. I may be up there with you next too, so be careful how you treat me. One more thing.
No.
Be careful how you treat me, Mr. President. Be careful how you treat me.
You've had to leave before now.
Right, right, and I don't mind leaving today. Table everything that is major until we have the city council District 4 election on next Tuesday. When you vote on stuff like this, you got 30-some thousand people over there at District 4, their voices are not being heard. Give us an opportunity to get a city council member. If it's not me or some of the others in here, give us an opportunity to vote on it. Don't vote on anything in our district. We ain't got no representative, and that's what I had to say.
Okay, next item, number 5. Yeah, we can carry this over. Need a motion to carry it over?
Move to carry it over.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Number 5.
Hearing on proposed ordinance amending fiscal year 2018 and adopting fiscal year 2019 operating debt service budget.
This is a public hearing. I'd like to speak on number 5. Jamal and Jamal, you can speak. You had enough? Okay. Phyllis Harvey Hall.
engagement is not where I just come here and I talk and we listen and next. I have one question, and I hope I can get some answers in my time that I'm going to have on my phone. What is the difficulty in us having an occupational tax put where we as the citizens are not only paying the tax, but people that come in, work in our city, take their money, drive back to as far as Prattville, Millbrook, and Pike Road? What is the problem? And I'll stand here for my 3 minutes. Why are we not having a political wheel? I think a mayor answered it on the Kelvin Eklund show. He said there has not been a political wheel. But I think it's a new day and a new time in these past 5 years since that came up. I'll wait my time out.
It's been discussed.
And?
No outcome.
Why not?
Because there's not a vote on it yet, okay?
Excuse me?
It has not been put before the council, okay?
Who will? Anyone would take the will to do that? We have several councilmen here.
Yes, sir, Mr.
I was going to chime in, excuse me, in this proposed budget, there's a fee to look at some money allotted to have experts look at our revenue sources, and I'm sure that's going to be one of them. So you're talking about occupational tax, whether gas tax, occupational tax, business tax, whatever. I think we need to look at that pretty in depth before we just jump in and do it, which is what's been proposed in this budget. So I think you'll hear some talk and discussions over the next several months. So that's answer to your question.
Partially.
You asked why we haven't talked about it. I'm telling you, we've got it in the budget to look at it, and we'll be talking about it.
Is that the same as the gas tax was just talked to?
No.
It's not?
No. That's been.
It's on the agenda today.
It's on the agenda.
Okay.
How long would be the process to get it before someone would bring it up?
The gas tax, actually, I think we were waiting on the state. The state was originally scheduled to raise the gas taxes, and that way we didn't have to worry about it. But unfortunately, the state has, I guess, postponed it. They haven't done it yet. Therefore, in the effort to wait and not being able to wait on them, we decided to go ahead on and propose this in our budget. So it's been something that's been looked at prior, probably before I got here. I'm not exactly sure how long it's been looked at, but I know they've been waiting a long time for the state to do it. So it wasn't that we wanted to do it, but as soon, and I think the plan is that once the state does it, and that is a plan, but once they do that, then we'll roll it back. But in the interim, that was something. So the point is, it hasn't been something that was just talked about a couple of months ago. It's something that's been going on for a while, and the state had already planned it. But the state has just postponed it. So at this particular point, we decided to put it in the budget this year. But the end result is that citizens here will be paying more taxes on the gas.
But you all are adding additional tax to us too, right?
No, well, I don't know if it's going to be additional, but we plan on rolling ours back once the state does theirs. And I think the state is planning on doing it. I think you can talk to Representative Morris over there. She can probably give you some details on it.
And in all due respect, it seems that when there is a political will among some councilors, we get things done. We get a motion, it's put before. What's going on with the sanitation was a very quick process to those of us looking out, because it seems like we heard about it. 2 weeks later, there's talk and radio talk. There was a PR over all the talk radio shows. The same will could be done with a tax to evenness for an occupational tax, where not only we, the citizens who live in Montgomery and fund city services, but to spread it evenly, to get something that's more equitable. And for those who enjoy the services of our roads, and enjoy all the benefits of the city without having to put it in, but drive their money out of our city. So we would like to see that as citizens, that we put something forth that we all would be willing to buy into, which we realize we would pay something, but it would also be more of an even distribution for tax base.
Thank you for the input.
May I address that? May I address on that?
Mr. Bell?
Well, you asked, I think one of the things you asked maybe why not. One reason may be, as I said back back in the work session, is that maybe it's as elected officials, as politicians, we may be afraid to do that because we see something that's inherent wrong with bad with saying raising taxes. I'll tell you what. Now, everybody I talk to about an occupational tax, most of the people don't want it, but I'll be frank with you. I think it's worth looking into it, and as I said back there, I think we're going to have to come to it. We're going to have to come to it whether we want to or not. And I, for one, am not afraid about being not reelected because I I vote for it. So I don't know what the answer is. It's not very popular. I know that, and so I can't speak for anybody else, but that would be something that I would think about very strongly.
What is popular, though?
Well, you know, it's
No
individually to everybody, each person up here has his own constituency to think about. He has his own experiences through life to guide him. You know, I can't speak for anybody else, but if I thought it was going to help the citizen and not let us come every 2 or 3 years raising taxes, and because you know, as Mr. Larkin said back there, and most people agree that you know, if you want services, you're going to have to pay for it. So there's an old commercial say, you pay me now, pay me later. So nothing in life is going to free, and I think it's free. And I think if we as elected officials would explain it, what we're doing to people, then I think it would be a better understanding. So I think what we did back there is good, and I'll go on the record saying, no matter how long I'm on this council, I'll be one with very strongly look at it. I look at the cons and I look at the pros.
Just before I leave, I think there are comparable cities like Birmingham. We've been measuring ourselves lately with Millbrook, and I think I've heard Prattville services.
Okay.
But when we look at what cities along with our population are doing, you think Birmingham, I think they're beginning to look at, I think they're going to institute, once again, an occupational tax. And there are other areas that are doing
They already
it.
have
So
it.
we need to start looking at what they are doing rather than what
We are.
Prattville and Millbrook are doing.
Thank you very much. Okay, item number 6.
No, we got to vote on 5, right?
Oh, that's right, we got a motion to carry this over.
Carry it over.
Motion to carry over?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Yes, sir.
Mention Thursday as well, since
All
we're
right.
on that one.
On Thursday, we will have a work session the council will have a work session on the budget at 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon in our work area. Okay, next item.
Item 6, application for a lounge retail liquor Class 2 package license, doing business as Larry's Trading at 5615 Osama Road.
I've got 2 people signed up to pay. Bert Pitts is here to talk on this item. We've already had the public hearing. And Doyle Fuller.
Mr. Chairman, I have a petition for the clerk.
Yes, sir.
My name is Bert Pitts. Mr. Mayor, Chairman Jenwright, and members of the council, this is the 4th time we've addressed this application for a liquor license for Larry's Trading Post, the last time being just a couple of weeks ago. Since it's been so recent, I won't repeat myself, but address some of the arguments of Mr. Green's attorneys. He will argue that beer is for sale in nearby businesses. The other 3 retailers sell grocery products, and beer is made available as well. This doesn't justify turning a flea market into a package store. His attorney will also argue that Mr. Green is a good man and deserves this license. Our community is full of good men and women that deserve the right to live their lives in a peaceful community in the manner in which they've become accustomed. He will show he has a representation of the community that wants this to pass. We likewise have a representation saying we don't. He will not mention the tactics Mr. Green used to try to keep this representation from knowing about the ongoing hearings, leaving outdated signs in his windows to possibly keep the public from noticing when the date is changed, also periodically placing items in front of the most recent sign to block the new date and time. One of the compelling arguments for not approving this request is that local law enforcement, both city and county, see it as having a negative impact on our community. I understand there's some question about Derek Cunningham, Sheriff Cunningham's point on this, and I have an email from him dated August the 7th that says, quote, "They had an attorney calling and everything. Like I told them, if the community don't want it, I don't want it. They have to live there, not me. I will always support y'all on this issue such as this. If someone wishes to purchase hard liquor, let them go to the business district of Montgomery as they do now and not across the street from a major subdivision. The city will receive the same tax revenue wherever it's purchased. I ask that you once again acknowledge the desire of the residents in our community and deny this request as before. Thank you.
Thank you. Please keep it down. Noah Fuller, please. Noah Fuller.
only additional comment I would have, I would ask council to carry this over to the next council meeting so that I could have an opportunity to get a little further clarification about what Sheriff Cunningham's position is on this matter.
Okay. Please,
President
please,
said he couldn't
please.
hear me. I don't.
We can hear you.
So on behalf of the applicant, I'd ask you if you would
Carry it
consider carrying it over to the next council meeting until we can get some further clarification from Sheriff Cunningham on what his position
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Declare it's before the council in a motion.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Because of the this unusual circumstance of what appears to be
can't hear you.
Mr. Doyle Fuller has represented that the sheriff has said something different to him than what has been represented by some of the citizens in the area. I do believe that under the circumstances it might be prudent to carry it over to get some clarification as to exactly what the sheriff's position is.
Have a motion for that?
Yes, sir.
Have
I
a
move
motion to carry over. All in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. President, before we vote, can we ask the mayor to have somebody try to get a hold of Chief Cunningham on the telephone so we don't have to ask these people to come back down here?
They've got an email, they've got a text there if you can see it.
Sir?
I think the people there have got a text from Mr. Cunningham, from Sheriff Cunningham.
Today?
No, 2 weeks ago.
Mr. President, Chief Finley, can we try to get Chief Cunningham on the telephone? These people don't want to have to come back down here in 2 more weeks. Just, let's vote it up or down. Let's see if we can get the man on the telephone. Can we move it?
You got a motion on the floor. You got a vote.
I take the motion.
Carry it over. I mean,
Yeah. No, sir, no, sir, no.
Got a motion on the floor.
Well, y'all don't leave.
Got a motion on the floor.
All right, y'all don't leave.
Motion on the floor.
Motion on the floor. All in favor of carrying it over, raise your hand.
Out on Larry
Three.
Street. District 2 abstains.
Okay. All opposed, carrying it over, raise your hand.
And police it, then there's some conversation.
All opposed? All right. So we will not be carried over. Okay. Now,
Madam
I need a
Clerk.
motion from the floor.
District 2.
Arch,
Move to deny, Mr. President.
have a motion to
Stand
deny.
on the telephone.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Yeah, I heard you. District 2 abstains. So
Two abstentions.
I abstain.
Mr. Mayor, can you share
You
with
got
us?
5,
Yes,
2
sir.
abstentions.
Three.
Who
Mr.
abstained?
President, why are we voting when the mayor's got the chief on the phone?
Please excuse me.
If you will,
I
let
don't
me,
have the
I'm
vote.
talking to Derek Cunningham right now, and what his statement is,
His statement is,
I can't do that. His statement is that he does have objections, but he will in fact answer calls at that location if they're warranted. Did I say that
he
correctly?
still got objections. Okay.
Still got objections.
Yes, the answer is he will.
All right, the motion-
He will answer calls.
Motion carries.
I don't have the vote, Mr. President. I have 5 yeses. I need the no votes and the abstentions.
I need all opposed, raise your hand. And all abstentions.
I'm abstaining.
Three abstentions. 3 abstentions. I'm
3
abstaining.
abstentions. 5 votes.
That gives me the 8. Yes, sir, I've got it.
Motion carries to deny.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Next
Items-
item.
Item 7, ordinance amending section 25-35 of the Code of Ordinance.
Mr. President, they have no idea what we just did.
We just turned the.
No, they're
liquor
looking at
down.
us like they're lost. I'm just telling you, they're looking at their neighbors going, what just happened?
Well, let's
He
tell
got
them what.
denied the license.
It's denied, the license denied. Okay. Next item.
Item 7, ordinance amending section 25-35, disposal of trash in residential areas generally.
Carry.
Item number 7. You want to carry that over?
Yeah. You gotta have a meeting Thursday.
Okay, go carry that over, meeting on Thursday, okay. Have a motion to carry it over. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Number 8.
Item 8, ordinance authorizing the sale of property at Oakwood Cemetery grave spaces.
Need a motion on this item, please?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 9 is withdrawn. Item 10, resolution denying and or revoking right to operate a business for failure to purchase business license. Doing business is K&S Financial Group, 3038 Woodley Road.
Mr. President, we've had no contact from him.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
Motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 11, resolution revoking business license for failure to pay sales tax and authorizing a show cause hearing. Doing business is BP Marathon Station, Thursday, 762 South Perry Street.
Mr. President, show cause hearing would be on September the 18th, so we'd ask you to
Okay, need a
grant
motion to
that.
suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 12, application for lounge retail liquor Class 2 package license. Doing business as West Fairview Package Store, 427 West Fairview Avenue.
This is a public hearing, and we're like, oh, it's you. Your name for the record, sir?
Chris Hargett.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
This is a public hearing, and when I speak against this item, please come forward. Jamal?
You know I got a history coming down here about liquor stores on the west side, and I would like to quote something that the great Miss K.T. Brown always say. We don't need no more liquor stores on the west side of Montgomery. We don't need no more. We don't need no more. This package store is right there where it intersects almost where Lanier High School at, Bellengraff Middle School kids, E.D. Nixon school kids walk down E.D. Nixon Avenue. You got Carver kids that walk down Fairview now because of transportation issues, but that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day. But Mr. President, once again, let's table this until after next Tuesday election, and we don't need no more liquor store. These folks go to the liquor store, and they don't even respect Sunday. You know, back in the day, they used to respect Sunday and have it closed during Sunday morning service. They have it open early before Sunday school, so you can tell they don't respect Sunday morning services. And we just don't need no more liquor store, especially on Fairview. On a Friday night and on a Saturday night, it be jumping like crazy. And you have to be watching. You already don't got no light on Fairview. You already got potholes on Fairview. So if you're driving drunk, you don't know what you're going to do. Please, Mr. President, table this until after August the 28th, 2018. Thank you.
I declare the public hearing has been held as part of the council. Need a motion, council?
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Since this is in District 7, I move to suspend the rules. I would like to say that this is a current establishment. It's just a change of ownership.
Okay. Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Question.
Mr. Bell, Mr. Bell. Mr. Bell. I'm sorry,
You closed it?
I want to ask one question.
Because we can't, y'all talking so sexy, we can't hear you back there.
Okay, you were going to speak on this item?
Yes, I'm in District 7, and we are opposed to any more liquor stores. We understand that they're going to bring another liquor store to Fairview in that same area in a few more months to a year. So if our Fairview Avenue District 7 actually is going to be filled with liquor stores and pawn and title shops, we can't progress with that. So yes, I am opposed as a resident of District 7 and all districts in Montgomery, because y'all moving to the east side.
Okay.
My question.
I declare the public hearing has been held as part of the council. Mr. Bell.
Mr. Bell. I had a question. First, so it is in District 7 and Mr. Brown is not in 4? Because I would be in agreement. Huh?
What I'm saying, Mr. Vince, is you addressed me to mix that up. What I'm saying is major ordinance or proposal come before this council. Why can't
District 7
item.
item.
Table it until after the 28th? That's what I'm saying. Because whoever becomes in District 4, they still
All right, thank you very much.
But my question.
They still have to work with all the councils to get stuff done,
right.
Mr. Councilman Bell.
Yeah, but you said it was in District 4.
No, I didn't say it was in District 4.
Oh, it's not, okay.
You quote me wrong. I said
I'm
wait
sorry.
until after August the 28th
So
till we get a councilman for District 4, then vote on it.
And it's already an existing,
Business.
Well, it's on the west side anyway, so you might as well say it's still next door to my
but it's
district.
a liquor store already.
Okay, Mr. Bell.
They just changing the name. Changing the ownership.
Or they change the ownership.
That's all. It's
Still,
already-
we don't need no more liquor stores on Fair. We got enough already.
I would like to address Mr. Brown. I hear what you're saying, and unfortunately, the city of the business does not stop when one of us is not here. There's a lot of times when there are people here that may not be here, but the city still has to go on. It's an adequate concern, and we hear you. However, there's a strong likelihood that there could even be a runoff. Now, with that said, can we?
I'm not here to talk about campaign
what I'm saying
stuff.
is, the business of the city must go on, and we can't
Right.
function with 8. But I hear what you're saying. But the likelihood of us just putting everything on hold until
Exactly. That's all I'm
District
saying.
4,
Now, if
that's not going to happen.
Right, but this is all I'm saying. Anybody get hurt on Fairview, we're gonna hold all of y'all accountable. With all these liquor stores on there on Fairview, we're gonna hold y'all accountable. I love you and Mr. Bell a lot, but we're gonna hold y'all accountable.
All right. Mr. Chairman, we have a
We're gonna
motion.
hold y'all accountable.
I have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Suspend the rules.
Mr. Unanimous.
Anybody else?
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
7,
All opposed? All abstention?
1.
Okay. Good luck with the business.
Thank you.
13.
Item 13, application for special events retail liquor license doing business as Dragon Boat Festival, 355 Coosa Street.
Representative Dragon Boat here, please.
Pieces.
Your name for the
Will Meacham.
Okay, Will. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward.
This says number 13, application for a special events retail liquor license by Prattville, Alabama Pizza Kitchen, LLC, DBA Dragon Ball Festival on 355 Coosa Street. Now, they are from Prattville. We come with this occupational thing again, like you said, Mr. Green. Now, they come way from Prattville. They're gonna make some money off of us Montgomeryans. They should pay an occupational tax. Don't take it back to Prattville and keep building Prattville up and making folks move to Prattville. Make them pay some type of tax if they're gonna be doing business here in Montgomery, Alabama. I just want to throw that in there for free.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Brown, I don't think you know exactly what you're speaking about. If I could have one of them tell you what they're going to do with this fundraising project here in Montgomery and see if that suits you. No, they're not. They're actually out of Montgomery.
If I can speak to that, sir, I have
You
a
can't
store. I have
speak.
a
Just
store
sit
in
down.
Montgomery. I have a store in Montgomery as well.
Just listen.
So I had to, in order to get a special event license, you have to start the process over with the ABC board. I've got 2 restaurants, one in Montgomery, one in Prattville. The one in Montgomery's been open over 7 years. For me to get that information together was going to take a little time. Prattville's was open 3 years ago. I still have that information in a file, so I picked the file up and I went down to the ABC board. So we are in Montgomery. In fact.
Tell him what the donations go towards at the end of the day.
So the Montgomery Dragon Boat Racing Festival is a fundraising event. Our beneficiary this year is the Montgomery Food Bank. All of the proceeds from this event will go to the Montgomery Food Bank to distribute food to countless communities.
Thank you.
I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Move to adopt. Oh,
Have a
move to
motion
suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Good luck with the
Resolution is
event.
adopted. Item 14, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Clever Food Store, 1908 Mount Meigs Road.
Representative Clever Food Store, please. Clever Food Store. Your name for the record, sir?
Jet Pickett.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing has been held. It's brought before the council.
Move to
Mr. Larkin?
suspend the rules. Move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
Thank you.
Item 15, application for special events retail liquor license, doing business as Nat King Cole Society Jazz Festival, 355 Coosa.
Representative to the Nat King Cole Jazz Society, please. Hey, Katie.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Your name for the record. Better do it so they'll record properly.
My name is Candy Capella.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward.
I just want to say I support this lady.
Thank you.
Even though, let me say this, even though we didn't do right by her at this council, you know, the mayor didn't do right by her. Let that be on the record. But I supported Mr. President. I support her. She's a good person.
Very good, very good. I declare the public hearing has been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with the event.
Thank you, sir.
Item 16, resolution appointing Renee Casillas to the Parks and Recreation Board.
Get a motion to suspend the rules on the rest of the agenda.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All right. Need a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt. Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 17, resolution appointing Bertie Rudolph to the Parks and Recreation Board.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 18, resolution reappointing Paul Hankins to the Housing Authority.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 19, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of the listed structures.
Need a motion to uphold.
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 20, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various locations.
Thomas, you got anything to add to this? Scar.
I just have some numbers for you for the overall for the year. President, the total nuisance complaints year to
Get
date.
the microphone, please.
The total nuisance complaint year to date are just under 13,000. That's an increase of about 1,000 in the last 2 weeks. And your violations total year to date are 9,191.
Good Lord.
That's an increase of 600 in the last 2 weeks.
Thank you very much. Glad you got on board.
And Mike's got the slide for you.
Okay.
They'll roll as you complete the rest of the meeting.
Where are we printing this? We got this on the website.
Yes, sir. It's on an open data platform. It usually posts about a week after the meeting because this information is just available to us tonight.
What's Delta property? Delta property?
That's tax sale purchase.
Tax sales?
That's one of the ones that buys the,
Yeah.
buys and has to hold them for 4 years.
God. Let's keep going, though.
Mike, if you'll increase the pace just a little bit. Easy, there you go.
I don't see it.
That's all right.
Knuckles, James Knuckles.
There's a total of 521 on tonight's agenda.
521?
Yes, sir.
Tonight.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad we didn't print that.
Motion
Kill a
to
couple
adopt.
trees and all that. I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 21, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir, I have before you some contingency funds for your approval. District 7, 2,500 to Montgomery Dragon Boat Race and Festival, and $500 to the Girls on the Run serving the river region.
Okay, need a motion to...
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
may I add a couple, please, sir?
I always thought you would do that.
2,500 to Dragon Boat.
Madam Clerk, Montgomery Humane Shelter, 1,000. Montgomery Zoo, 1,000. Georgetown Neighborhood Association, 500. Carriage Hills Neighborhood Association, 1,000. And Montgomery Junior League, 500.
Anybody else? Need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. Mayor, you okay with these?
I'd like to add for Glenn Pruitt's district, the Dragon Boat.
I'm going to send you an email on the rental tax.
It's
All
approved,
right.
yes.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. Okay, in public communication,